Kia ora koutou, welcome to Whiteboard Friday. This week we are looking at the government's proposed freshwater reforms. Now, as part of these reforms there are a lot of good aspects, and we've talked about those in blogs, but we won't focus on those today. We're going to focus on the really big issue that the government is raising, and that is trading water. A bit like treading water, which you could say the government has been doing in the freshwater space for many years, but quite different. So usually when people talk about trading water and owning water, people get very upset because supposedly no one owns water. Well, let's just deal with that right from the outset, because in our view, if you're using water and you are able to pollute fresh water, these use rights are pretty much a form of ownership right, you know. Possession is 9/10 of the law, folks. So let's be honest about it. We've actually already handed out the rights to use and to pollute our fresh water, and we're continuing to do so. So let's talk about that in a mature fashion. First off, trading is not always a bad thing. Okay, a lot of people think that people shouldn't be profiting from our freshwater resources, but actually trading enables us to make sure that those rights to pollute and the rights to use water are used in the most efficient way possible. A great example is the Murray-Darling Basin in Australia. This is a massive area in Australia, catchment, where trading of water is allowed. And what happened a few years ago in a drought that happened there was that, of course, in a drought there wasn't enough water to go around, and so the rice growers, the people who were using a lot of water but weren't getting a lot of profit from it, they ended up selling their water rights to the horticulture users, the people who were growing fruit and crops, the people who needed a lot of water and were making a lot of money from it. So the rice growers shut down for that year, the hort growers, they kept going. And it was worked out that this trade benefited the local economy by $220 million. So given that there was already a drought, that actually lessened the impact of the drought during that year. So trading is useful. It helps us make sure that the right to use water and the right to pollute water end up in the hands of the people that can use it most efficiently. Of course, as I said before, there are people that think that no one should own water, but we need to grow up and realise that that is already the case. There are rights that are out there, the rights to use water and to pollute our fresh water. There are rights that are out there, and these rights are valuable. So let's take the example of irrigation, which of course uses our water to put on a private person's land in order to grow stuff. Now, on average, irrigating a piece of land increases the value of that land by about $8,000 per hectare. So let's not pretend that these rights don't exist and that they're not valuable. They are out there. What trading allows us to do is it takes the right to use water and the right to pollute fresh water, it removes that from the ownership of the land, and it allows that to be traded so that we can make sure that the people who are using the water or polluting the water are doing it in the most efficient way possible. Now, of course, once we realise that people already own our fresh water, we start to think, well, it's our water, shouldn't we be charging for it? And that is absolutely the right reaction to have. We should be charging for our water. Now, the government is allowing for this in a small way in its consultation. They're allowing charging for water on the basis of cost recovery. So that is simply allowing regional councils to charge water users in order to recover the costs of managing fresh water, doing the science, doing the measurement, managing the actual trades. But we think that should be much broader. Let's look at the example of environmental damage. Now, the government has already spent $450 million cleaning up fresh water around the country. Why aren't the people that use fresh water and pollute fresh water paying for that as part of their cost recovery? We think they certainly should be. If we, the New Zealand public, own the fresh water, then there should be a resource rental attached so that we as owners get the benefit from someone else using our fresh water to create private profit. Now, the government says that cost recovery is in line with the system that we have for fisheries, but actually this is not the case. What we saw when the fisheries quota management system was set up was that we handed over the rights to fish to fishing companies. This has since created a $4 billion asset, and we only charge them to recover the costs of managing the quota management system, the science, for example, of managing our fisheries. But when the fisheries management system was first set up, its architect actually designed in a resource rental so that the New Zealand public, the owners of the fisheries resource, could actually benefit from other people using that fisheries, going out there and doing the fishing. The reason that that was scrapped was because of the orange roughy debacle, where we overpromised the amount of fish that could be caught. The government overpromised the amount of fish that could be caught, and we had to compensate those fishes. That was a massive mistake, and we should not repeat it here with water. We are handing out valuable assets to the users and polluters of our fresh water, and there should be a resource rental attached to that so that we, the public of New Zealand, can benefit from other people profiting from our resource.